You may have seen a gadget like this before. It's a clip-on fan that goes on the back of your phone and helps it reduce heat and improve performance. At least that's the claim. I've always been curious if they actually work. And I had a good reason to get them. Even though I'm not a gamer, I do record videos and my phone does get pretty hot when I'm doing that. So I thought maybe if I stick a fan to the back of my device, maybe it'll keep the temperatures low. Also, when your phone overheats, it's not good for the battery, so it's not just about the performance part. There are multiple reasons to justify getting one of these, so I got one to test it. And the results were, well, kind of disappointing. And the reason for that is pretty obvious. I'll explain. The product that I'm checking out has multiple mounting mechanisms. You can use this metallic plate with an adhesive back to stick to your phone. And if you have an iPhone, you don't need that plate, like it has the MagSafe ring, isn't it? This will directly stick on that. But I went with attaching this clip. It's easy to put on and remove from your device, and it does fit pretty snug, so it should work. Most of these things are powered by a single USB-C cable, which is fine. And yeah, as soon as I turn it on, you can see that it's forming some condensation. It does get pretty cool really fast. So I was initially optimistic. Wow, this thing does actually work. You can even see the condensation on the phone as well where you have attached it. So I decided to run a benchmark which produces a lot of heat. I ran 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme, which is like a 20-minute stress test. It actually renders a 1-minute 4K scene over and over. This is not a pre-recorded sequence. It makes the processor render the whole thing from scratch every time. So it's pretty intensive. Even for modern phones, that thing is pretty overkill, but our point is to test how well this performs, isn't it? So I ran the test without the cooler first, and I kept monitoring the temperatures. We started from 30 degrees and went all the way to 42 degrees towards the end. That's a pretty toasty phone, especially on the screen. Like if you're playing games on that phone, your fingertips will get that burning sensation. It won't be comfortable. Okay, that's expected, but hey, we have our savior right here. Let's mount this and test it out. So I waited till the phone cools down to 30 and attached this thing to start the benchmark. It started off better than before. I could see 1 or 2 degrees less, but towards the middle it got toasty anyways. Like the screen area was getting quite hot. Sure, the back of the phone was a little bit cooler, but most of your fingers would be interacting with the screen. And even towards the end of the test, you can see that the front temperatures are almost the same, like 39 degrees. I mean, sure, 1 or 2 degrees difference is significant, but if you look at the results of the benchmark, like the actual performance indicated by the numbers, you only see a marginal increase. And the internal temperature was pretty much the same anyways. So, I don't know. I mean, this thing was constantly running at the maximum speed that it has, but it didn't really make a big difference on the whole phone. And the reason is simple. This phone that I'm using in particular, and many phones, are not designed to be used with a cooling fan. Yes, there are phones that come with a cooling fan attachment, like I guess an ROG phone or something has it, but that's specifically designed to have a cooling fan attached in that place. Its internal heating elements like the heat distribution system specifically is designed for that. But most phones, including mine, uses its metallic frame to dissipate heat, which means putting a cooling device on the glass back doesn't really make much of a difference. And glass is not a good conductor anyways, so it's not gonna help you cool down the rest of the phone. That's why we didn't see a big difference, even though there was a surface which is like 12 degrees, super cool compared to the phone. The device works, there is nothing wrong with the fan itself, but the concept of just attaching a fan behind any phone and hoping it works, no, that's not how it is. This can still be useful to cool down your phone. If it's heated up, you can attach this for a few minutes and have it quickly cool down. That's nice. But I don't know if you have to get a separate fan for that. You can just put your phone on a metal surface and that'll act as a heatsink. So in conclusion, should you buy a cooling fan thingy for your gaming/power user needs? I'm not so sure. I'm not convinced. Because like I mentioned, companies use the metal frame as the heatsink, so we have to cool that thing. We have to take the heat away from the frame, not the glass back. That's where this thing attaches, which is not the best implementation. I hope you understood my point. So while they do seem fancy and they sound like a good idea, they may not be as effective as you think. At least that's been my experience based on my testing. If you're still curious about these, I'll leave a few links in the description. You can check it out, but you know my verdict. If you have used these things longer than I have and have a different opinion, please share it in the comments. I would like to know.